Well, I figured it's the holiday season and all, and today's Christmas Day. I was watching a Tory live stream last night. There's some kind of, I don't think it's a constellation or it's part of a constellation, a nebula, something in space that looks exactly like a Christmas tree with a star on top of the head. And I'm telling you, all this religious stuff that we believe in and some people believe in right now, maybe it starts in 2025, the big reveal, and continues on. And we just realize every freaking thing you can imagine we've been lied to about. And I do want to wish you still, regardless, a very Merry Christmas. Today's the day. Ian, he's about to turn 5, so he's still 4. He'll be 5 next month, like soon. It's just that young age, man. Watching them, videotaping them, opening their presents, seeing what they got, what Santa brought. You know, you know, the code, the code. Santa, and mom and dad. And just it's still, regardless of what we believe or don't believe, it's great to see the kids, man, when they're young, especially opening up gifts and seeing all the stuff they got. It's just, I don't know, it's cool. um I thought, I'm gonna share a little christmas little Christmas miracle story, kind of. So I was in New Mexico. I've been to New Mexico this year more than I've ever been by far, as far as individual trips. 2 weeks here, a week there, 2 weeks over here, another week over there. And I mean, I've gone a lot in 2024. And one of those trips, which was a few months ago, wasn't one of the more recent trips. I think this was back in August. I'm dumping buckets. Chris is basically, we're winching them up with this little drill winch thing I got. And we dumped more buckets in that one day in particular. But that whole trip, it was a lot of bucket dumping. But in one day in particular, we dumped a lot of buckets. He had a lot of material coming up, and it was just me and him. So I'm the one dumping buckets. And man, I wore out my lower back. And man, I was feeling it. Like after that, I'm like, I can't dump any more buckets at all. I'm done. I'm gonna mess my back up if I do any more. So we kind of switched some things to where it was, he came up to dump them, and I just scooted him over to attach them and whatever. But I was feeling my back. I was like, man, I really worked my back over. May have, I don't know if I tore some muscles or pulled some muscles, something that was, my back was letting me know. So, after that, I came back again, and I'm thinking, I don't know if we dumped buckets after that, but even a little bit of shoveling was like, ooh, yeah, I better take it easy, even though a month or two, whatever it was, had gone by. And I'm trying to think when this dream was. I have it in my book. Um, Speaking of which, I was just getting ready to write in here because I had a couple of dreams last night, and I'm just keep getting these dreams like frequently now. I finally get in. I'm finding stuff. I'm being warned about, you know, certain things regarding it and what not to do and what to do. Um, Let me just see if I can find, because if I can figure out when I had this dream, I can figure out some things real quick. If it was with Amy, might have been with Amy. Um, Not that one. Maybe it was with Chris. Let's see. Uh, which I did. I see that dream. I had a dream. I was on a commercial airliner, and we had to make an emergency landing only to find out it really was kind of a minor issue. And yeah, and then off we went. We had to land at a different airport, check out the problem, and then okay, off you go to the final destination. And that actually happened to my last trip, which was the most recent trip. Um, I can't seem to find it. Where I must have went over it. Anyways, I just went there with my friend Amy, and we had some woo going on over there. And I'm trying to think, was it that trip? Might have been that trip. But I don't know. It was either that or the one before that with Chris. I was so back in 20, maybe 11, 2012 for sure. Met this guy online. He was doing YouTube videos. His name was Pastor Dowel out of Tennessee, and I was like, man, he ain't talking like no pastor I know. This guy's pretty interesting. Like he's laying it down. So I was like, man, this guy's pretty cool. And so I talked with him, and we did some videos together. I went up and visited him a handful of times. Me and my family went one of those times. The other two or three times, I think I went by myself. Um, Not too long ago, I took the helicopter to get an annual up at a place in Tennessee, and I go, man, he's not that far. I think I'm just gonna drive over there. Went over and drove over to his place and visited him. But he's got his own property. His church is on his property. Like he's bought more acres and stuff. Like it's just turning into this big, beautiful, like almost paradise. Just incredible. All the stuff me and him talked about back in the day. He's moving forward in implementing these things and bigger parcels and more people moving onto the property with them and like a community basically. So it was always a real interesting vibe there. It's like everybody loves you. Like you feel like you're loved by everybody, even though they don't really know you. And that's what me and my wife noticed the first time we ever visited them. So I just want to just tell you this in advance of what I'm about to tell you. So here I am, my back issue, whatever, that I tweaked something, picking up, so many of these damn 50, 60 pound buckets filled with, rock and dirt and rubble. And we just had so many dumping and nonstop. Anyways. So I get back home. Oh, hurricanes come in. You got a trampoline. You got this. Oh, you grab those 50-pound salt bags for my water softener and put them on the legs of the trampoline, put some over there to hold that thing down, flying away. And of course, my back's like, oh, yeah, I didn't like that. So after the storm left, I got to put these salt bags back. Uh, Let me just do one or two at a time a day or something just to really go easy or use a hand truck and but even minor stuff, I'm like, yeah, I can feel that, man. You need to really take some time off and let your back heal. Like it's going to be okay, but you really need to let some time off. But keep finding myself doing something that's getting it to where, hey, be careful. You can feel that. Okay. So again, it was either with Amy or the trip before that with Chris, um, or maybe the trip after that with Chris, because it was Chris, Amy, Chris was kind of how the last three trips went. And with Amy, we didn't really dig. It was just me and her, doing the woo thing, and she got some woo going on for sure. And she had something interesting happen to her, spiritually woo for sure. One of the nights, it was, I don't. It's not my place to say it without asking her, but it was a something similar had happened to me one time, and it was really interesting and good. So, um, one of these nights, I wake up out of this dream feeling the emotion with it, real powerful, spiritual. Something happened in my dream, and like pretty incredible. And I'm over at Pastor Dowell's and at his place, and if I start go walk right away walking into his church, and which I think they call the tabernacle, and so I go in there. He's right away. He greets me right as soon as I come through the door, smiling. I think he gives me a big hug and kind of motions for me to go up towards the pulpit up front. And I look down at myself and I'll go, oh man, I can't be in here like this, shorts and a t-shirt. I'm like, Pastor Dahl, I can't come in here like this. And he's like, no, it's okay, go. I'm like, all right. So I go up there and there's total of I think 10 women, and there's two. Each set of women times would be five of them. So two, four, 6, 8, 10 till the final end of where the pulpit is, and they're just side by side. So they're holding hands side by side. They're right. Well, I guess one person's left hand, one person's right hand, and they're looking at me coming up to them, almost like when you go through a wedding. There's people on both sides, whatever. It's kind of like that. And as I come up, my chest hits their hands that are holding their hands to stop me. And then just a couple seconds goes by. They let go of their hands, put their other hands behind them, behind my back, and now they're holding hands behind my back, and they just gently push me to nudge me, hey, go forward to the next set of women. So then those are doing the same thing. They stop with their hands, on my chest. Okay, go. They let go, and then they do the thing, so on and so forth till I get to the. I thought it was four or five, but I think it was five rows of these women or whatever. So I get to the fifth and final one, and then they motion me to go over to this table off to their, or would be my left, about 20, 25 feet away. And there's nobody at the table. There's no chairs at the table, but it's a regular table. Like it looked like a dinner table kind of a thing, somewhat. So I go over there, and then this young man with a nice, buzz cut, kind of like what I got going on here, but I think he had hair. He just chose to buzz cut it. And he puts one hand on my back somewhere, and maybe my lower back or mid back, somewhere down there. And then the other hand he's got on my chest, and he kind of pushes me down onto the table. And then he takes his hand off my chest and puts it somewhere like maybe on my neck or just below my neck and my upper back. And then the other hand, I think maybe he slides down to my lower back where the pain, where I was having my issue. And so I'm just kind of bent over this table with him doing something. I don't know what he's doing with his hands, but he could feel this energy coming in. And it only lasted 20 or 30 seconds. But each second that ticked by, the energy or almost electricity got more and more powerful. And it got so powerful that, even though I was bent over, my legs started coming out straight like a board, right? All the way out. And I'm not doing it. It's his, whatever he's doing to me is forcing this to happen. And even so much that my legs actually bent up, arched up towards my back, the way your legs are not supposed to go, to an extent, not a lot. Like maximum, it's about as far as I could bend those things that way. In the final, like finale, whatever, of him healing me, basically. And while this was happening, I seem to remember everybody in that church was singing. So I don't know what they were singing, but singing something, sounded nice. And I could just feel through their singing and stuff like this huge amount of love to me, coming to me while this guy's healing me. Basically, that's what he was doing. He was healing me. But again, this was in a dream, but it felt real. Let me tell you something. It felt real. And, at the very end, I just felt all this love from all these people and his final, charge of my back. And then that was it. And I woke up. And when I woke up, because that night, so when some of you may not know, a few new ones, I had an airplane last year. I had an engine out coming back from New Mexico to Florida, over Florida, Perry, Florida, forest land, had nowhere to land it. Engine out. Where am I going to put this thing down? There's a dirt road. I'm going to go for that. I'm going to try it in the middle of this forest. And the closer I got, the more I realized there's no way you can make this happen. It's too small. There's trees on both sides. It's not going to, you can't do it. And then I see these rows of newly planted pine trees, and I go, well, I'm going to hit those with the wings, and it'll be even as I hit them because they're rows. Somebody planted these. They're smaller. Maybe I'll snap them as I hit them and kind of, break the fall, so to speak. And got the plane as slow as I could, and hit them and whatever. Um, well, after that, from bouncing around and everything that happened, all that violent force, my neck was kind of hurting. Like if I laid down too long, like if I was sleeping and I wake up and I'm still tired, I want to lay down, like my neck would be like, you got to get up. It's going to get worse and worse. So I'd get up and that lasted many months. And I still did some trips to New Mexico because it was just last year, 2023, and then 2024 comes now, and I'm like, I'm going to New Mexico. So the first few trips of me going to New Mexico this year, 2024, as we're bouncing all over the place in the Jeep, going up these rocky, crazy mountain roads, and my head's doing this, of course, and I realized at the end of the day, coming back down, like, yeah, my neck's going to be a little sore tonight, and it was, and it's like these internal muscles that like kind of hold your skull and stuff, like not these normal ones, like not just the plain old whiplash ones. It's like that plus something else, and it took a while to really heal, but it finally got to the point where, okay, it's not doing that anymore. Good, on some of these trips that I went over there. So this bucket dumping episode kind of aggravated, I don't, somehow, whatever. My neck was hurting a little bit, and not on that particular trip, but it was when this healing thing was happening. I started noticing, like, oh man, my neck, just a little bit. I feel that thing again. I go, ah, crap. Wonder what that's even from. Like, huh. And so I wake up after having that dream with Pastor Dowell, and even though I went to bed that night, my neck was kind of bothering me. My lower back was bothering me. Uh, I woke up and both felt really good. And I was like, okay, all right. But I still realize, like, hey, you still need to be easy on your back. Like, that doesn't mean go get balls to the wall crazy all of a sudden. And so my back's been healing up just fine now. It's still not absolutely perfect. Like if I go out there and start lifting heavy crap and salt bags or something, it's gonna probably it could easily aggravate it. So I'm just taking it easy. But it was interesting because after I woke up, all that stuff wasn't bothering me, and I'm in a dream. I had a dream I was being healed at Pastor Dowell's place, and I wasn't really there. I was in New Mexico, and I haven't told him this story yet. And I thought, yeah, let me do this video, and I'm going to send him this video, and see what he thinks about it. But um, you know, I hadn't told him yet, so I think he'd be interested to know that him and his people were in a church healing me, and I feel like I really got healed waking up. It was very interesting. So that is my Christmas Day story for you guys. Take it easy.